to this computer.
Yeah, are you recording already, darling?
I've already started it. Well, we can just cut things out, can't we?
Don't need to cut anything. So welcome, everybody. Yay, we're starting.
Yay, exactly. So a very warm welcome to Susanna Mittermaier. Yay! We have asked Susanna if she would be doing a short Zoom call, so she can first of all show who she is and tell us a bit more about how the way she is working with people, because there's a book from Susanna and there is all this information about Susanna being invited to huge conferences, international conferences with all kinds of psychiatrists and psychologists, and she's telling them what it looks like if you treat people the Access way of treating people. So it's very, very exciting to have her on the call with us, and she's just gonna tell us what she thinks about all these things in life, how you can strut through life and just enjoy yourself and have a good time. And that's probably the main thing, just have a good time. And so we're going to leave the word up to Susanna. If you have any questions, let us know, and I hope you enjoy it. And if you want to know more afterwards, we'll let you know what possibilities there are. So
welcome everybody. Thanks, Ingrid. Welcome everybody to Conversations with the Peacock. I brought you a little peacock here. I got this one from a friend, and I was just asked, so why do you have the peacock for pragmatic psychology? Well, because the peacock, it was many years ago that Gary Douglas, the founder of Access Consciousness, and I had a conversation about what else is possible for psychology in the world, because psychology tends to be, as I noticed when I did my studies, a lot about what's wrong with people and why things are wrong with people, and it's all about finding solutions. So we created pragmatic psychology as a way of really doing what works. Like, imagine if you would spend your life every moment choosing what works.
That would be too easy, wouldn't it?
That would be way too easy. By the way, if you do something, Klaske Magit, there are some people who are not muted. Cindy, if you would please mute yourself. We have a lot of background noise, and I don't know where it comes from. That would be amazing. Thank you. So pragmatic means doing what works always, Like, imagine if you would, in every moment, not look for the right choice in your life and avoid what's wrong, or wonder what people think of you, wonder if you're good or bad, but instead of being like dramatic, because if you spend your life wondering what's wrong with you and trying to do the right thing, then you are using a lot of energy to be dramatic rather than pragmatic. So pragmatic means basically always doing what works. So pragmatic is where your life just floats, and it's so easy. And then so many years ago, Gary Douglas and I had this conversation of what else is possible for pragmatic for the psychology in the world. And he said, so what if we created a world where we always choose what works? And then he said, Susanna, would you be willing to be the peacock in the world that you truly are? And I found this so funny. But the energy of the peacock, as I showed you before, is, have you ever seen a peacock?
For sure.
Have you ever seen a peacock that, has his feathers up?
Oh, yes, definite.
So the peacock has this energy of hi world, here I am in all my beauty, in all my greatness, in all my amazingness, and you get to enjoy me, You get to find me beautiful. You get to judge me. I'm not going to put my feathers down just because you judge me. And by the way, you're welcome. And by the way, it's on the house. So that's for me an energy that is so extremely inviting. So since then, the Peacock became the contribution to pragmatic psychology as an invitation to showing all your colors, showing your greatness, whether people like it or not making yourself small again, and using your greatness to inspire. And so this is something that I have seen so much in, for example, I was working many years in psychiatry with people who were diagnosed for all kinds of things, and like bipolar, depression, anxiety, substance abuse, personality disorder, autism, Asperger, ADHD, OCD, like everything. And I met these people with these diagnoses, and every time I would have a conversation with them, I was stunned who was sitting in front of me. Because when I started asking them questions, so who are you truly that you haven't acknowledged? Not only an energy of grandness came up, but also an awareness of a totally different reality for these people. A reality where they would see that they have always been different, but where they could also discover that very difference was the resource and the possibility that they can use to create a life that truly works for them. So truly all the symptoms that they were quote unquote suffering from, and the symptoms that were boxed into diagnosis or categories of diagnosis were merely acknowledgement of greatness and grandness. They were like a badge of honor, a badge of difference and greatness, rather than a wrongness. And there the journey started, where everything just turned upside down, and I realized, wow, okay, so how can I use this title in this reality called psychologist and psychotherapist? How can I use this to create a psychology that works for us? And yeah, all of this started with a question, as it always does. You know, when you want to bring something in the world and you know there is something that is different than other people. And once you start asking questions, the possibilities of how you see things that are completely different than other people can start to emerge and can start to grow and can start to actualize into something that doesn't exist yet. Right? So what do you know that is so different than other people, that you have judged as a wrongness, that if you would acknowledge it as a strongness, would emerge and physicalize and actualize as a greatness that has not existed on this planet yet?
Wow.
Everything that does not allow you to be, know, perceive, and receive that with total ease, will you now please destroy and uncreate it all, times Godzillion.
Yes.
Yes. Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pock, all nine shorts, boys, and beyond. So I know most of you already know this clearing sentence. If not, it is one of the tools that Access Consciousness uses, which is very powerful. And I'm not going to explain it because that would take maybe a half an hour, and you want to use the time for something else. But if you want to know what it means, just go to www.theclearingstatement.com, and Dr. Dane here will explain every word of it.
Well, we can add that link in the when we send out the recording. So
thank you so much. Yes, so you can all see the video of the clearing sentence. So you can get a feel of what does it mean and how else can I use it. But without explaining it, you can already use it, because one of the things that I realized when I started with this different approach is that, and that was for me a wow moment. And this is something that we all can just acknowledge over and over again. Okay, so changing your life, get ready for this one. Changing your life, it's not about understanding it. And I know, like, most of you have heard that many, many, many times, or have said that to other people, you know, but you get it when you get it, right? There are those moments when you hear these things and it makes sense, but at some point in your life you go, wow, I really don't have to understand my difficulties in order to change them. But we're so trained to try to, make everything cognitive and try to make it logical and understandable. And gosh, have I done that? 'Cause, my whole training as a psychotherapist was that I did cognitive behavioral psychotherapy. I did psychodynamic therapy. I did all kinds of different psychotherapies, and all of them were about understanding and even interpreting what people were saying to me, which is another way of cognitizing and categorizing things. And gosh, is it tempting to want to understand, right? It's so tempting to involve your brain and everything, your mind and everything, and go, once I get it, it will change. Once I know why this person said this to me, why did she say this to me? Why did she use these words? Why did she use this look? There must be a meaning to it. It's like we're all so trained to find a meaning to everything, and it drives us nuts. So everything that is, will you please destroy and uncreate it? Yes. Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pock, all nine shorts, boys and girls. And I'm saying this because been there, done that, got the T-shirt, right? So, and for me, I always say, if I can change it, I'm a person who tried to understand everything. If I can change it, and if I'm not tempted by my mind anymore, I think everybody can change it.
Yeah, so if everybody can do this, what options do we have?
What options we have? Well, get ready for this one.
I'm ready. Okay. Tell me.
So if it's not about getting it anymore, right? If it's not about understanding it anymore, first of all, your brain probably will go, or say something or have a point of view about, but it would be really good once we understand it. That's great. Your brain is a great talker. And have you ever had a friend who talks a lot? Do you have a friend that talks a lot? Okay. So have you ever tried to make that friend stop talking?
I could just laugh.
Does that work?
No.
No. Because once you try to make your friend stop talking, he or she will probably tend to talk even more.
Exactly.
It's the same with our minds. Our minds are great talkers. They talk about everything. They all describe everything they see. They put words to everything. They put thoughts and feelings and emotion to everything. They try to navigate you through this reality. And we think, we need our little GPS called our mind. If I don't have it anymore, I don't know anything anymore. So all the lies you've all been buying, that if you don't have your little GPS called your mind anymore, you won't know anything. You won't be able to live in this reality anymore. You will be lost. Will you please destroy and uncreate it times a gazillion?
Yes.
Thank you. Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So, and then Ingrid asks, so if I don't do that anymore, if I don't try to understand everything anymore, what else is there? Well, and I said, get ready for this one. Well, then you get to open the doors to this wonderful thing that your mind right now, when I say it, will go, which is once you let go of your need to understand everything, it opens the door to absolute being and receiving and knowing and perceiving. And notice how your brain right now goes, yeah, right, great. Thanks for this one, because we're also like, okay, so give me an answer. We all want to have an answer to, okay, what now? How do I create my life so it works for me? Tell me, give me a, recipe, give me an answer, give me something. Don't tell me to be and receive. I remember years ago when I had a conversation with Gary Douglas, I called him and I don't remember what the problem was. That's how important the problem was. But I had some problem. I don't remember what it was. And I asked him, so, I wanted an answer. Tell me what to do. And if you ever had a conversation with him, that's not going to happen. And so he said, oh, honey, it's fine. Just be. And I did not, like, mildly put, I did not like that answer. But I'm like, all right, I know him too well. I'm not going to get any other thing out of this conversation. I'm just going to hang up now and say thank you. And, well, not in that order, the other way around. And then I will just be, And so I remember I was walking around for days and just going, all right, we can do this, Susanna. I'm just going to be. All right. So, and then, I'm like, I try to figure out what is this thing, this being thing, right? And I'm like, oh, I'm just going to, all right, I'm going to walk down the street. I'm just going to be. Yeah, baby, I'm just going to be. And then, I went shopping and I'm like, be. And I'm, on the third day, I'm like, fuck it. I don't get it. I made just was in front of the coffee machine. I made myself a coffee and I'm like, you know what? And I remembered my mom's words and she said, honey, you don't have to be good at everything. There's some things you can, some things you can't. And I'm like, maybe that's just one of those things. Maybe this being thing is not for me. I mean, this is for other people. So I'm just going to accept the fact that I don't get it. And I'm just going to let it go. And guess what? In that moment, I'm like, oh, I'm getting what it is. I have been doing instead of being. I have been worrying instead of being. I have been thinking instead of being. I have been, creating all kinds of stuff in my head instead of being. I can just let it go. And in that moment, a space opened up where nothing mattered anymore, where I'm like, I can just, be, and then I can be aware of whatever somebody says. I can be aware of what somebody feels. I can be aware of what's going on around me, and nothing matters anymore. I don't need to understand it. I don't need to get it. I don't need to interpret it. I can just be. And that is one of the most pragmatic things in this world. And this also at the same time is one of the least yet, I'm kind of sensing it will change very soon in the world. But right now in this very moment, it's not very sought after. Being and receiving, it's not very sexy in our world. You don't have, movies where people talk about, hi babe, can we just be with each other? It's like, it's like there are other kinds of conversations you hear in mainstream right now still. But I think with so many of us asking for something different, I'm sure this is even in mainstream changing a lot. And as Ingrid said before, I'm invited to speak at conferences nowadays, which years ago was not even on the radar, right? So now I have all these smart people asking me to speak at their conferences. And last time I was in, where was I? I think I was in Berlin, and it was an international mental health conference. And there were all these smart people in the audience. And first of all, I didn't think that anybody would show up because, it's new, it's different, it's weird, it's a weird approach. And it just said pragmatic psychology, and it invited to be pragmatic with patients. And so, and then suddenly all these people came into the conference room, and I'm like, I heard myself saying out loud, because I don't have much filters. I heard myself saying out loud, what are you guys doing here? Why are you sitting here? And they all looked at me because they're like, you're not supposed to say something like this out loud. And I'm like, are you sure you want to be pragmatic? Is this really what you want? And they said, yes. I'm like, are you sure? Because what we all have learned so far is being dramatic as psychologists, as therapists, as doctors. We all look at the problem and we all look why we have a problem, and then we try to figure out what we can change, and it's not really changed. And so they're like, yes, we've done this long enough. We want to do something that works. And I'm like, what? So that really showed me that things are changing and it's time for a different approach. It's time to invite people to what's right about them, not what's wrong about them. And it's time to really create a life that works. But, you know, when you start doing this, there's so many judgments. For example, you know, when you do what works, does your family like that? Or does your family think you're cold and egotistic and you don't care anymore? So usually when you really start to create a life that works for you, not everybody finds that wonderful. So it's, I don't know if we have it's okay. Is the sound okay?
It's starting to echo, but I think we're good now.
Okay, cool. So one of the elements of really going for pragmatism and being pragmatic is not caring anymore about the judgments that are being presented to you about how cold you are. Because once you don't make your life about problems anymore, people might think you don't care about them anymore. Because one way of connecting in this world to each other is by difficulties and judgments. And if you don't function like that anymore,
there's no conversation.
There is no conversation.
No, this is so true. If I'm talking for me, the people that there are so many people that I used to know and I used to speak to, and it was always the drama and the problems, and I don't have them anymore. And I'm just looking at them, and they're going to me like, "Yeah, but you can talk to me if you have something," and I'm just like, "Yeah, well, I just don't have anything," and they find that weird.
Yeah, because it's also like the common point of view. If you live your life the way it works for you, it's very common that people think that you're suppressing something. You know, you can't have it that easy. It's like it's. Let me put it this way: it is normal to have a problem. It is not normal to not have a problem. So you are expected to have a problem.
You are so right about that. Because when you are too happy, people can't get it. I was on a terrace last weekend and a lot of people were happy, and then another group were complaining because they were happy. I mean, yeah, I understand what you mean.
Yeah, totally, exactly. And you're suspicious if you're happy.
You must be on drugs.
You must be on drugs. You must be in a cult. You must be suppressing something. There are all kinds of judgments that might come up. And you have the choice to either make those judgments real or know what you know. And one of the most phenomenal tools of access consciousness that helps here is to know what's light is right, what's heavy is a lie. Always. If you just use that tool, you're styling. Because if you have a conversation with someone and you just had this, wow, you know, at those moments where you just, you know, go down the street, woohoo, you know, and you have, you know, you listen to music and all is good. You're like, I feel good. It's good, right? And you have this, you know, kind of energy in your world. And then you maybe have a conversation with someone who says, yeah, but da 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 da, and your energy from goes to, you know. Why? Because you suddenly make that person's point of view or whatever it is more valuable and real than your reality. Why? Because your reality, the lightness, is not normal yet on our planet. But every moment you go for the lightness, every moment you choose that, you are on the way of creating a different reality. You are creating it in that moment, not only for you, but for everybody who's asking for it. And everything you haven't acknowledged about that, you world changer, will you please destroy and uncreate it?
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And that's one of those things is every time you do not make yourself wrong, but you acknowledge your greatness, you are changing the world. I know your brain goes, what? But it's like you are, like, even if you don't have to say it out loud, we always think that if I change the world, I have to be loud, I have to be somewhere and speak, I have to be somewhere and, talk. No. Changing the world is not about, going somewhere and standing on a pedestal and talking loud. No, changing the world is by the choices you make. If you make the choice to not make yourself wrong, but acknowledge your greatness, you are changing the world. So again, everything you haven't acknowledged about that is destroyed and created.
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds.
Wow.
Yeah, like, can I say something?
Yeah, Rita.
Yeah, like babies. Even babies, they don't care what they do, and don't care what is the reaction. Or very small children. So, and I work now in as a, how to say it, ordination, at a doctor's.
Doctor's practice.
Doctor's office.
Office, yes, thank you. And and they are coming mainly people with some pains, and they explain. I have to write for the doctor in the computer exactly what they say, and they say this pain very exact on the millimeter on the body, where it starts and it ends, and then when they are finished, then I show them the picture of one of my colleagues got just now a baby a few weeks ago, and I show the photo, and did you know she got a baby? And they suddenly just smile and happy and forget their pain, yeah, at least for a moment. And this is for a baby. People can or small kids, we can still receive this happiness. And I am curious what change can be with our adult happiness to the others.
Yes, and what you say is amazing, because just looking at the baby's world is do you know the expression in English, it takes one to know one?
Oh yes. I don't know if everybody knows this.
So I don't know if all the Europeans know that expression, but it's such a great expression. It takes one to know one means if you see something in someone, if you see a baby or an animal and you go, oh, I love that space, I love the playfulness, I love the ease. If you can see it, it is in your world. You have it, you are it, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to see it. Right? So if you have someone you admire, or you see something in someone and you go, oh my God, that's opening my heart, it's amazing, it's if you see it, you can only see it because you are it. Okay?
You mean that if you see softness, you can be softness. If you
are softness, you already are it, but you haven't acknowledged it, because we always look at if you're a person who's busy at looking at the wrongness of you,
then you can't see it.
Yeah, they can't see it because you're so busy and occupied by looking at the wrongness, rather than going, wait a second, if I admire something in someone, or in a baby, as you said, Rita, it's because I be it. It's because I be it too.
Yes, and that touch you.
Yeah, so the space that babies are is incredible, because they function from no reaction. And again, in psychology, we have learned reaction is normal. What if reaction is not normal? What if you don't need to react anymore? I talked with someone the other day who's, I think her sister died actually a while ago, right? And she said she read my book where I talk about my cat who died also many years ago. And she said, and I write in the book how the first thing, and you know, it wasn't any cat. It was really a cat, like, oh my God, you know, like really close and all that stuff, you know, how it is when you have an animal. And, and when he died, the first thing that came was just space. There was no reaction. There was no, oh my God, there was no, there's something wrong. It was just like total space where nothing is wrong. Total gratitude for the animal. And then when I started to talk with people, I went into sadness. And I also realized pretty fast that that sadness was a reaction that I had learned, that I had made normal, because you're supposed to be sad, right? But the first thing that came was just space, ease. And this is something that I love to invite people to also with pragmatic psychology, is like, what if you don't have to react anymore? What if you're you know, you can have that space with whatever quote unquote terrible thing shows up in your life, and then you can find a way of creating something greater beyond it. Yeah, exactly like Renske said, sadness wasn't mine. Yeah. So so the space that's available for us is incredible once we don't entrain to the insanity of this world anymore. So everything that is, will you please destroy and uncreate it? Times good,
Yes.
right from pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So the ease of being and the ease of creating your life is incredible. And the joy also, and joy is not, like, joy for so many people is about, yay, everything is amazing, you know, and you're like, oh, because joy is, like, for so many people extremely manic, and you know when it's not real. Joy is actually a very peaceful space where you know something greater is always possible. Everything is changeable, and everything is just a choice away. And everything doesn't allow that, will you please destroy and create it? Yes. Right, wrong, good, bad, pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. I actually just wanted this to be really short, because you know you all have things to do and go, and I don't want to occupy your time too much. But is there anything, any last thing, anything you would like to know that you know, if you have the chance now, want to ask?
Very quiet. Maybe I have a question.
Oh, there's someone.
There is someone. Let's go with the question first. And training to this reality, I've seen myself do this time and time again. How do I stop?
Haha, great question, which suits super to what we were just talking about. So in training to this reality is where you know, there are these unspoken rules in our world. Like, you're supposed to be like this, you're not supposed to be like this, you're supposed to, like, there's a certain situation and there's one good way to react. You know, when somebody leaves, you're supposed to be sad. You know, when you're fired, you're supposed to be upset. Like, there's these unspoken rules of what's normal, and then you entrain to it, because you know, one of the valuable things, as we have learned growing up in this world, is being normal. And being normal is to be like everybody else. And to be like everybody else, you have to react like everybody else. So that's one of the elements of entraining to this reality. And one of the ways to get out of that is to acknowledge and become more and more aware of you doing this. So, and this is the beautiful thing with consciousness, you know. Consciousness means turning on the lights. It means you see what is. You see, oh God, okay, I'm doing this. Again, I'm entraining to this reality. And next step is, do not judge it. Do not judge when you are entraining to this reality. Just go, there we go again. She did it again. Yay, woohoo, entraining to this reality. How does it get any better than this? And then and then you just go third thing. Okay, we had acknowledging, 1, not judge, 2, and 3, ask. Okay, I have no clue, universe, but show me, what other choice do I have here? What else can I choose here that I have no clue about? And it will be shown to you. You will get it. You don't have to figure it out. Thank God. You don't have to think about it. You can just ask it and then let it go. And just that changes everything. Okay. And Lori is asking, what does psychology in general want us to stay in our story? Psychology is So psychology used to, from the very start, used to be the study of knowing. Did you know that? It used to be about empowering and knowing. And then after that, not so long ago, it got turned into the study of behavior, about, you know, what's right, what's wrong, what's normal, what's sane, what's insane. And it became about categorizing, and it became about the stress of, I have to be normal, and what does it mean to be normal, and a certain kind of behavior. And for me, pragmatic psychology is just having psychology be what it's meant to be, which is the study of knowing. The study of knowing of what you uniquely know that nobody else knows, about what you uniquely see in the world that nobody else sees, and about using this as a resource to create your life. So that's what it is. And Joe says, easier said than done when this reality is all about judging. So acknowledge it, love, and then ask universe, show me what else is possible here beyond this. What is a good exercise to get out of judgment? You're going to hate that one, but I'm going to do it anyway. So, and I hate it because I hated it myself when I heard it before. So getting out of judgment is, guess what I'm going to say now? It's a choice. Yep. It's that damn thing that we don't want to know we have in every moment, to go, okay, I can't judge right now. And I so know that I don't have to judge. I can go for the other choice of not judging. And maybe you're going to go for judging anyway, because that's just what you've done all the time. And it's, you know, you're so good at it. Why give up something you're good at? But then you can always go for not judging. And there's so many other things you can do. It's just really hard to get them all into this call right now, because there's so much to this topic. I wish I could say it all in one, but you know, there's a lot going on in our worlds that we can access with so many tools. Lori says, thank you for writing the book. We are very lucky to have such awesome information. Oh, you're welcome. Just be IPOF. Yes. And by the way, if you want to know more about this stuff, yes, there's the book out there on Amazon. There are videos on YouTube for free. And if you want to dive more into this topic, I'm having a tour. No, actually the Peacock and I are having a tour. So pragmatic psychology is also coming in form of a class, a 2.5-day class. It does not have any prereqs. Anybody can come. And it's 2.5 days where we really dive deep into this and explore what's uniquely possible with your crazy, with your difference. And the next cities we're going to have these classes are Amsterdam, Köln, Germany, Allgäu, Germany, Rio, Mexico City, and Vienna. And most of the classes you can also do online. Okay, so if you don't want to go to these cities, I mean, why would you want to, if you want to go to Rio, I know like German people said, oh, I want to come to Rio, I'm going to do a Rio class. So if you need any special language, let us know. If you want to do it online, that is also possible. And then there's another special class, which is called the Advanced Practitioners. This is a special pragmatic psychology class that is for people who are papers. This is a very special class for people who are practitioners. So if you, for instance, are a doctor, a therapist, a social worker, a facilitator, a parent, a teacher, any kind of practitioner, and you want to know how to use the access tools in your practice, this would be the class Advanced Practitioner. The prereqs for this class is either a foundation class, an access foundation class, or a pragmatic psychology 2.5-day class. Then you're welcome to come to the practitioner, the Advanced Practitioner class. It's a very new class that Gary and I created. And we had one of them already in Vienna, and it was a blast. It was incredible. So here you go, and I'd be happy to hear from you. If you have any questions, I'm going to give you my email here. I might not answer right away because I have quite many, but I'm doing my best. And I'd be happy to hear from you. And if you have any other requests of what you say, oh, I'd love to have this and that, and please do a call about this. Let us know. And for Amsterdam, we have Ingrid hosting.
Yes, and Simone.
And Simone. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being on this call. I have to hurry because we have a German call in 10 minutes and German people are super early. So I need to call in there now. I hope this was a contribution to you. You're all getting the recording. Thank you for being awesome, and thank you for being here and considering a greater reality. I'm really, really happy that we're so many asking for this. We are changing the world. Let's face it and acknowledge it. Thank you for all the thank yous.
Thank you.
Thank you, Susanna.
Alles Gute. Danke.
Danke, euch auch.
Danke.